Howdy, howdy, howdy. Today is November 12th, 2017, and this is the Garden Nerd. So, today I'm going to give you a quick little run through of what's going on in the garden. Not much because, as you can tell, it is kind of cold. Pretty much everything's died off. I'm going to do some harvesting and, just general cleanup of the garden since it's got away from me a little bit this year. Alright, let's get started. Alright, along here, this has just been done. There's a couple radishes in the corner, which kind of are a bit leggy, so I'm just going to probably leave them and just let them kind of do their own thing. Over here along this bed, all the greens and whatnot I harvested out, and I've just put a nice layer of fall leaves on top that were kind of mulched down, as well as some compost underneath that, so this bed's just going to rest over winter. Up here, more or less the same thing. Some leaves. I did have some lettuces going until the very end. A couple of turnips and some radishes, which are pretty good and harvestable. Over here in the lasagna bed, the rabbit has come around, just kind of eating the tops off the beets, so they're more or less done. I have to do some cleanup on that, harvest some of those, maybe leave a couple, see how long I can push the harvest. The kale needs to be just kind of chopped and taken out. Then over here along what was the tomato bed, there's a couple of turnip greens and some radishes along with the beets on the side. Most of these I'm going to harvest today. And over here in the leaves bed, there are some turnips of a second planting late in the season, which I may harvest some of those, may leave them to see how long I can push them into the season. But there are a couple of the parsnips kind of along here in this area, which I'm going to harvest. Just kind of clean up the kale. Then up here, where the nasturtium was, I did save some seeds from some radishes that went to seed. And then over here, there's still some more turnips that I can pull, along with some of the parsley. Then up here, the Swiss chard is more or less done. As you can see, it's kind of sad and droopy. Yeah, pretty much everything's died. We've had a couple of nights of some really cold, hard frost. The ground is more or less frozen in the first couple top layer type thing. So yeah. Over here in the mid-yard area, I had my cover crop going along. That is doing okay. I know it's kind of hard to see from all the leaves, but right here in the middle, I planted a bunch of garlic. I just used the bulbs that I saved from this year's harvest that were over in that corner over there. So I just kind of put them in. They are now chugging along. The little greens are fine. I'll probably put a couple more leaves over top so they'll hopefully overwinter. I have a couple more beets spotted around, which I'm going to harvest as well. Then over here in the back jammer garden, I've just kind of been throwing some leaves and whatnot back here. There are some beets, which you might be able to see there, which I'll do some harvesting on, just so I can have this back little jammer all done with. Alright, along the container garden here, this is all pretty much done. The mint I got a couple harvests off of, so I'm happy with that. It might live, it might die since it's in a container. Either way is fine with me. I got a good yield of the peppers, some more lettuce, and then the kale that I just, chopped down, and it got some little regrowth. So that might survive a little bit later into the season since it's bouncing back. And a couple of random volunteer turnips that I sprinkled in there. So yes, I will have lots of turnips and beets still. Lastly, here in the experiment type garden, basically I've pulled pretty much everything off of there. So yeah, that's just more or less done. I'm gonna, just do a little bit of weeding since I have some viney stuff kind of growing up into it. But more or less, this is more or less just gonna be how I'm gonna leave it. Maybe I'll throw some leaves on, and then yeah, this will just sit all winter. Alrighty folks, so I went and finished picking the rest of the crops that I could. There's still a couple out there that I'm just leaving to kind of experiment with to see how long I can push it. If I don't get them, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I do have quite a lot of roots here. I do have one decent size parsnip, which is pretty exciting. I did try to grow these in a couple different spots, only one good one, and then I got a couple of little tiny parsnips, which is fine. I'm gonna try to do more parsnips next year, I think. I've got a bunch more beets. I did pickle quite a lot of these guys earlier in the season, and then some more turnips, which are a little bit on the frozen side, which is fine. I think they should be able to handle this. Maybe they'll even be a little bit sweeter, because usually what happens with root crops, when it gets nice and chilly and the frost comes, all their sugars go to the roots, making them a little bit sweeter and more yummy. But that's it for me today, folks. Thanks for watching. Bye!